for him, known for directing some of the finest films like Anek, Thappad and Article 15. Well, truly honored to have you here, sir. And we have with us Mr. Vinayak Godse joining us as well, CEO of DSCI, to lead the conversation. Over to you.
The mic is there. Thank you. And so this conversation we plan before the innovation box, right? So, and you will surprise, right? Why? What is the relation between cybersecurity and entrepreneur industry? And we'll come to that basically, right? And we have seen the story with this short video here, right? And we were talking to Devesh sir, which is a friend of Anubhavji. We just realized, and I just had a discussion with him, and I realized how technology is shaping every sector. And you never imagine the sector that I just talked about, internet sector, how technology is playing crucial role, right? One part is delivery of entertainment, right? And we have seen IPL, some of the matches has crores of people, right? 25, 30, 50 crores of people has seen those matches basically, right? And so delivery is definitely is our role basically. But in the content side, there are a lot of possibilities, right? And what technology is doing for content, for designing, for production basically, right? That's another important thing, right? And in all that, we certainly will dwell into the cyber security and the concerns of security associated with the entrepreneur industry. But first, we'd like to hear you because basically by heart you is an engineer, and that too mechanical engineer basically. So engineer in a entertainment industry basically, right? And some of the movies also gives that kind of sense to us, how engineering graduate can really play a role in terms of ideas that you bring to your movies basically, right? So we want to understand the journey of engineering to entertainment industry and some of the experiences that you have in the line.
Good evening. Thank you everyone for having me here. You know, there's famous saying, no, if you're the smartest man in the room, you're in the wrong room. And I have added an addendum to it, and I say, if you're the dumbest man in the room, you're still in the wrong room. So I feel like that today. And I've been wondering, what am I doing here? But nevertheless, you know, sir, engineering was my dad's ambition.
Okay.
You know, back in the day, we didn't have choices. So by the time you are in the 10th standard, people are thinking about your life ahead in careers. And at that time, there were two major options. One was being a doctor or an engineer. I didn't like blood. No one does. But so I became an engineer. But then when my own life started after completing my engineering, I worked at 2 different companies over a year. Because I wasn't happy, I left the first one and then the second one. And I realized that this isn't what I want to do. And I quit one day without knowing what I wanted to do. And then I spent about a year trying to figure out what gives me happiness. And then I ran into the production of a documentary film. And I worked on it for a month or so. But second day into my job, I knew I wanted to be a filmmaker. Now that too has 2 parts. I started making films as a career, as a profession. But 17 years of making film, in 2018, I became someone else. And my films became something else. Because now I matured. I became an adult in 18 years. And now my films are a conversation with the world that I live in. So every film is a conversation about something or the other. But now it's old age, I guess.
That's look really great. Like you started, and some of the movies that I could relate in 2010s is a Ravan that you produced, right? It's first superhero, the way you depicted to some of the movies that I recently seen in the series that you recently had, right? So in this journey, we also progress as a technology industry. So we had initially browser-based internet, mobile came, and now broadband came, and now 5G, 6G came. Now suddenly we started looking at data, AI started coming in picture. There are a lot of developments that are happening, not only in AI, but many other technology area basically. So how, during these 18 years of your journey in industry, how technology is shaping your industry basically?
It's huge. Nothing compared to the way you people are shaping the world. Uh, that's sort of like window shopping for us. But when I went in, we used to shoot films on film. And now we shoot films on hard drives.
Yeah.
And very soon, I'm sure we won't even have hard drives. We'll shoot here, and it'll go straight to my editing room, and
Yeah.
I may not need to have it on a hard drive, as long as it is secure, and that's what it is about.
Yeah.
So the cameras, the editing process has gone through. Now I can be sitting in another country, and my editor can be in another country, and I can be pretty much in the same room with him and edit the film with him. Like this series that you just spoke about, IC814 Kandahar Hijack, it was color graded in 3 countries seamlessly: Milan, London, and India. And absolutely seamless. I went to Milan once for a day, and it all is happening. And also the lenses, a whole lot of other things, and visual effects.
Yeah.
Visual effects have gone to another level. This series that you just spoke about was set in the year 1999, had to be shot on 5 different airports that don't exist anymore, and an aircraft that is not in service, Airbus A300.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it had to be seamless, and it, I'm sure a lot of people worked very hard on it. I haven't met most of them because they work inside visual effects studios on computers. But the effect, thankfully, that they delivered was outstanding, absolutely seamless. So that is where we have reached. But I think now there is this new monster called AI that people keep scaring us with. And so let's see where it goes within our business. But as compared to what technology you people deal with, I was sitting with Mr. Pramod Bhasin,
Yeah.
and I was telling him I still have one credit card with a credit limit of 80,000 rupees, because if something happens to it, it's only 80,000 rupees. And so I'm that guy who's still worried using a credit card. So I'm in Stone Age. And you people, I don't know how to use GPay, because I think it can be hacked, because anything can be hacked. So hacking is the biggest fear. And I think, when Devesh Bhai called me and said, you must come, I thought, what will I do at DSCI? What have I got to do with digital security? But if you see, Bollywood doesn't make films about the world that you people deal with, You'll see a film called the Born series, Born Identity, Born Supremacy. Now people sitting in New York, hacking into the CCTV network of London train stations and chasing Maybe it is fictitious, maybe it is absolutely fictitious, but sounds believable, and I'm sure something like this is actually happening in the surveillance world.
Yeah, I'll tell you, so quantum computing, you may be probably having some idea of something as a quantum computing coming, right?
Yeah, thank you.
And it may probably break something. So how this medium is helping us, right? So what we did means we want to make our security community aware about how quantum computing will create a problem. So we talked to Netflix, and we arranged a show up a Heart of Stone movie. I'm not sure you have seen that movie or not. So
No.
this movie is like if quantum computing comes at the reality, if we start breaking things, it will break the encryption of your lift, it can break encryption of nuclear power plant, it can break everything.
Yeah.
And what the world would be because of that, basically. So just to make realize people, so we shown that movie to our security fraternity, basically, right? So I know in Bollywood we see some movies are now talking about cyber security. And in fact, any movie to type about crime, always have somebody is trying to investigate, somebody is trying to do digital forensics, somebody is there to even do hacking as well, right? So those instances, and sometimes we believe that probably here there is a possibility of security industry collaborate more with the Bollywood industry, because sometimes it's very simplistic in nature for us. Some of the hacking
Yes, it
scene-
is, because of ignorance.
yeah, some of the hacking that is shown in Bollywood movies are very sometimes becomes funny for us as well. Like, so probably that is one area. Means like how can a security industry help you to understand these more nuances level so that we can produce much better content in a such kind of movie, which is talking about investigation, hacking, police, because we did a entire sub-summit for getting all the security agencies, police forces together and taught them how, talking about how can you investigate different things, for example, vehicle forensic, drone forensic, which is happening. So this is definitely one area, and we certainly want to leverage whether we can help some of the stories that has been.
I'm sure, I mean, if we filmmakers spend a couple of days talking to some of your experts,
Yeah.
you will suddenly see there's a surge in such films in Bollywood. Because, also
Yeah.
these are very confidential things that you guys do, so we don't know much about it, and we should. And when I was working on this series, for the first time, I went into what our agencies do, and I said, wow, our agencies are some of the best in the world.
Yeah.
Just that we don't make movies about them.
Yeah.
America makes all kinds of movies about them,
Yeah.
but we didn't make movies about RAW or IV or,
Yeah.
and we should.
Yeah.
We should celebrate their successes, their
Yeah,
operations.
Yeah. Maybe we should, as DSA, set up a Bollywood council which can help us to engage with Bollywood.
Yeah,
better.
Bollywood Council is a good idea.
So DSA Bollywood Council could be a good idea, and you can be kind of guide for that council basically, right? One part is that, and second part is like if you are also in the process of producing the movies, right? And our simplistic understanding about the security in the context of your industry is because movies data now, because most of the movies data file at the end of the day. And as you might rightly say, it is in hardware, you may be transferring to some other place. Till the time it get released, so there are issue of privacy, there are issue of that data may get leaked basically. So what are those concerns and issues that you think associated with the asset that you produce as your particular article, a particular movie, a particular series, basically?
So there are two. First of all, the bad news is that the film industry is taken very lightly because it's very small in terms of its market cap, let's call it. It's very small. And so we are seen as entertainers, we are seen as fun people who wear flashy clothes and look at my glasses. So, and we are funny people, we drink and we dance. But there is more to it, and there is so much more to it. And I think whether it's the finance industry, that they don't like to fund us. They think we are not a money-making business. But if you see, the film industry has grown, and it's growing. So obviously people are making money, but there is a perception because this is something that anybody can write about. So just to give you a very simple example, within 3 or 4 hours of the film's release, it's available on Telegram.
Yeah.
The biggest film.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know why can't we stop that? Because that hurts the industry like nothing else. There are films that, let's say, Netflix owns the streaming rights, but that film is still on YouTube, various platforms, various channels, and there seems to be nothing that we can do about it. I'm sure that we can do a lot about it, just that it is loose change.
Yeah.
And so there is no one really enabling the film industry. It is some sort of very suicidal entrepreneurs who are putting their houses and homes and properties at stake and making those films.
Yeah.
But I don't know who I'm talking to, but somebody should start looking that as an industry and help it. Why? For starters, the films should not release on Telegram and films should not show up on YouTube. They should be stopped immediately. And I'm sure it is very simple for you.
Yeah, I think at face of it, this use case definitely looks simple to us because the kind of complexity that people are solving, maybe this conversation is a kind of a conversation to start some of those kind of discussions and conversation with your community and see how can we solve, because this problem is in large extent solved at industry level, right? We have to just see how can we solve it in media, and one part is during the production cycle. So we say in our language we say development operations. When we are building any new application or new applications or any kind of services, we use it as a language of a development operations. So in your case, it's production operations basically. How can you secure in production cycle an operation when movie is being made, and once the movie is being made, it is finalized, and then you're distributing basically. So how can you solve in the distribution as well, right? And how can you still retain the ownership of that till the time you can retain it basically. So there is a possibility of solving this problem, and certainly this could be an area that we can investigate with you and the paternity.
Yeah, that's another big matter where the industry bleeds, because there are times when you make a film for 4 crores, 5 crores, and you end up spending 2 crores, 3 crores just releasing the film. I'm not talking about marketing.
Yeah.
Just the release cost. So that is something that we have no idea. I mean, I'm very happy if you tell me. I'm very happy to create an interface in Bombay where maybe we spend a day together, talk to some producers, talk to some directors, because this serious gap between what the technology and the cyber security, etc., is doing in the country and what is reaching us. It's very precious little reaching us.
Yeah, and believe me, like a lot of global companies use capabilities in India to secure themselves, right? So a lot of global companies set up their operations of security in India, basically. So there are a lot of companies, you will find it here. I'll get it to talk to you, okay, how they are using our capability to secure their application on this thing. I'm sure this conversation, and thanks to the sir to got you here and have this conversation. But I'd like to chip a little bit gear on something we all are grappling on artificial intelligence. So there was AI before 2022, which is a black box AI that we all talk about, and there is a generative AI basically. And I know that generative AI is almost shaping every industry. Our field as well is changing a lot. How does it change the entertainment industry?
It is already changing a lot. So, but I look at AI from filmmakers' perspective in 2 parts. One is AI, and one is generative AI.
So we now say black box AI and generative AI.
No, even more advanced than that.
Yeah.
But the generative AI, which people believe and think that will start writing scripts and will start directing films, and no, that's not going to happen, because end of the day, whatever AI does will be based on precedence, which is based on existing data, reprocessing more smartly, more intelligently. But movies are about people, and people are flawed. And you cannot anticipate a flaw.
Yeah, but
what are the chances?
I want to a little bit interject, because when you're writing script, right? Sometimes we see scripts are very flawed, right?
Sometimes you see?
We see scripts are very flawed. There are a lot of glaring errors in the script, right? AI can help you to give attention to those flaws, and sometimes a human may not be able to give attention to those flaws. So as we use, I'm telling you what we do, right? So we do threat modeling. So for example, until now we have been doing, the individuals are doing threat modeling. So somebody will tell us that this is system and help us what could happen problem with it basically. Now generative AI is helping us to find all that possible issues, which was very difficult to find as a human way basically. So probably script, you can write original script, but finding the flaws, looking at those scenarios, probably AI can help in the area. And I think there's some expertise happening in this area.
No, sir, there are no scientific flaws in a film.
Okay, okay.
They are in a film.
Yeah, okay,
There are emotional flaws in a film.
okay.
So a lot of times, what is written on paper doesn't sound that it will hold. But then the actor comes into play, and then there is lighting, and there is an original background score, and suddenly that moment becomes monumental.
Yeah,
Now, there is no way anybody can predict it for you that this moment is right or not.
okay.
So, us as filmmakers, sometimes it's just a close-up for us at the editing table. But when the background score guy suddenly starts playing a raga on it, it becomes huge.
Yeah,
And that's a surprise. And that's the joy of making films. My apprehension is
yeah,
that anything that AI will tell me will be based on what exists in the bank of AI. Right? It doesn't have a mind of its own. And it doesn't have a few human qualities that make movies, like flaws, guilt, conscience.
yeah,
These are the qualities that AI will never have, cannot have.
yeah. So we delivered this in one of the sessions. We did a consciousness and AI, human consciousness and AI, and how can their AI can be conscious in the future or not, right?
No, I'm talking about conscience.
Yeah, yeah. And then when it is does, so can it also behave like a human in future? So there is definitely debate on that. We will not go to that debate. But you talked about generation. So you are talking largely on a generation of a media, right? So
Creative generation
creative generation, yeah,
is suspect.
yeah,
But everything else, it's doing a fantastic
Fantastic
job
job.
already in the business.
yeah, yeah. So now coming to the one of the part which we usually like. So for
Sorry,
example,
sir, but sometimes I also feel that, are we over inventing?
yeah.
Why are we inventing a fully autonomous car? I have not understood a simple reason why.
So I have recently, 1 month back, I have taken a trial of that in US.
Yeah.
3 hours without touching steering.
Fantastic.
We could try. So yes, there are use cases for that, and I think people are definitely going for that, and they are seeing that as a challenge. Can you have physical environment?
No, but why do we need it? More than what we would like, that percentage of the world is unemployed. Get a driver. Somebody will get a job.
Yeah, so we see that we see definitely there is a deep debate on technology and the role technology will play to remove the jobs, and we are also worried about we had in the morning of the presentation about how our cybersecurity jobs will go down because of AI. So that will apply to many of the field, including your or many other fields as well. So to come to the level of entrepreneurship that we talk in, for example, finance sector, we always talk about fintech for that matter. There's a fintech startup works with them basically, right? So how the entrepreneurship works in entertainment industry? Is it you yourself invent, or there are some startups, some external players that help you?
So if you look at it from a bird's eye view, it does follow the same pattern as any other corporate
Yeah,
company, any other sector.
yeah,
But I'll tell you how it happens. Like when I went to Bombay, within 3 years or 4 years, I was given a job that I was supposed to also produce. They said, you produce it.
yeah,
I had no idea what that meant. But they were giving me money to make the film I wanted to make or the series I wanted to make. So I said, okay.
Yeah.
I hired some people and then we learned on the job. But yeah, that was a startup. It also sort of had an angel investor. I never diluted my company, so I'm not aware of, but some people have, like Karan recently did, and some more companies are. So it's the same pattern, but it was a disorganized sector. No, the filmmaking was the business of losers. People who would not get any other job would make films, right?
yeah,
But then they became stars and they became inspirational and whatnot. And then they learned, and then RK Studios happened.
Yeah.
Guru Dutt had a company,
Yeah.
and Satyajit Ray had a company. And so people learn. But Eventually, after a certain stage, it does become little structured, but in the beginning, it's quite chaotic.
We also are seeing how filmmakers or actors especially are investing into startups. Means new startup, newest startups for that matter, right? Some of the well-known names have been now looking at new ideas to invest, right? So some of the surplus you create, you invest into startups basically. So you do see that as a regular phenomena, or there is one of these examples. So now I'm seeing the technology startup and film industry, at least from the investments perspective, some of the money from the intermediaries coming to the technology startup that we see. Means we have one startup in cybersecurity which has been funded by one of the entertainment industry actor.
I know one actor for sure who invests in startups.
Yeah.
I wouldn't name him. Maybe there are some more actors or directors. But, in our business, it's mostly an individual-driven business.
Yeah.
Most of the companies are like 99% owned by the name that you see.
Yeah.
And then there are very centralized decision making. And when we make money, when a movie becomes a hit, we make a lot of money. And then we don't know what to do with it, so we buy real estate. Like I personally, this is what I've done. Every time I made money, I bought a flat. So, but there's more to be done to it, and I think this calls out loud for an interface. That it's you speak French for me.
Yeah.
A startup, okay, then I don't know what happens next. So I give you $20,000, then what happens? Will it come back? Will it not come back?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So I think people need to be told, and there is enough and more. And I have had interest, but I have not had access to the real opportunities. So I said, I did speak to him vaguely once. But if I was educated, and I'm the only person who doesn't invest anything in shares, my CFO Saab keeps investing something in mutual fund, which is small, but I'm not ambitious about it. But he keeps getting me good returns.
Yeah.
But yes, like I have a very dear friend who created WebEx, Subra Iyer. WebEx was probably the first web conferencing platform, and he sold it to
Cisco
for some bizarre amount of money.
Yeah.
He does that. He loves it. So I look at him, and he's a very dear friend. I don't have a professional this thing with him. So I watch him sometimes on the phone. What are you doing? No, it's a good idea. Good guy. And he puts in some money, and then and he was the prime investor of Zoom.
Yeah.
And Zoom became Zoom.
Yeah.
The founder of Zoom added his name in the part of his initial.
So one of the thing on this entire goal that we talk about, the country can become a superpower if some of the surplus going to real estate comes to innovation, comes to the startups. We'll find a way. How can we interact and engage?
We should, sir.
Yeah.
How long will Bollywood keep investing in real estate?
Yeah. But there is always news about this actor bought this flat. So maybe there will be, we like to see that this actor invest into this startup.
I think the bigger answer is we are not as ridiculous as those small film magazines make us sound. All educated people, there is no black money in Bollywood.
Yeah.
Trust me, there is zero. Despite besides some dubious people who come from some other place, make a film that never releases. But the mainstream Bollywood industry is absolutely legitimate. People are running their offices, almost corporate offices. They need to be taken more seriously. I don't know by who. Somebody out there, or maybe more than one. And there is opportunities for Bollywood there, and there are opportunities for other people there.
Yeah.
There's big money being... A film opened today, first day's business, all India is 100 crore plus. Which business does that?
Nothing. No other business can do that. One more agenda which I want to bring to the table, because of the popularity, Because we are seeing now the way people are defrauded, right? The kind of frauds happen, digital arrest and many other things we just talked about. So we tried some years back to talk to some actors to help us to spread the awareness. Some of the actors are doing basically, right?
Spare what?
Spread the cybersecurity awareness so that people behave sensibly when they are sharing something, they are clicking something basically, right? So that could be another thing, how can we work with Bollywood industry to get them to talk to the people, because people can listen to them rather than they listening to we people in suit and boot. So actors can play very important role, Bollywood figures can play very important role to educate the citizens of this country to behave sensibly so that they are not defrauded. One is the financial fraud, but there are a lot of things which are going to the extent that people are sometimes creating the problem for their life as well, actually. So that could be another agenda.
And so on and so forth. So it's a very uncertain business. It's a very different syntax from any other business. But it's a very fun business. It's very satisfying business and very clean business, contrary to popular belief. And there is things that the real industry, finance industry, people like yourselves, they need to sit down, help us improve. Like I'll give you an example. Raj Kapoor's films, Bimal Roy's films, Guru Dutt's films, will they exist 20, 30, 40 years later? We don't know.
Yeah.
They were shot on film. Then somebody digitized it. Then that changed.
Yeah.
Then that is changing.
Yeah.
Who knows 5 years later, will it be a hard drive or what? We don't know.
Yeah.
How will we conserve? Russia runs a YouTube channel called MOS Film, M-O-S Film. They have digitized all their treasured films on a YouTube platform on 4K. It is there for life for anybody to see for free.
Yeah.
Now, what are we doing with our classics? Not every production company, not every director has a legacy of, the family carrying it forward.
Yeah.
So their negatives are lying somewhere, and that's a classic.
Yeah.
So that is something that we need serious help on right away.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's also a good business opportunity.
Yeah. And thank you. Thank you, sir. One is dwelling into, and I believe ki, probably that question that you have, ki, what I will do in cybersecurity event, little bit answer you must have got with this conversation.
No, I still don't know why you invited me.
But we got some answers.
But I love being here. I loved some
Yeah.
seriously educated people who are doing some real business,
Yeah.
unlike us. So I'm happy to be here. Sorry, I'm not wearing a suit. Everyone seems to be wearing a suit, but I don't have a suit. I never made one. But thank you for having me, and let's do something.
Yeah.
Let's talk to each other.
Yeah.
That's a good beginning.
Yeah. So with this, hope this was useful conversation. Please join me to give big hand to sir. Thank you, sir, for joining. And we'll keep bugging you from now. And some of the things that we discussed, we'll institutionalize that in the course of time. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you so very much for Mr. Anubhav Sinha. Can we have a round of applause for him? And I would urge Mr. Vinayak Godse to felicitate Mr. Anubhav Sinha with a memento, a token of appreciation. Come on, a louder round of applause. Well, that was a fantastic chat on innovation and entrepreneurship in the current decade. Thank you so very much. All right, so before Mr. Anubhav Sinha leaves the stage, Mr. Sinha, I would urge you to please stay back with us for a minute, because we have a fun segment which is curated for you, if you don't mind. We just need a minute of yours. We just have a small fun segment curated for Mr. Sinha. So, sir, are you ready for the fun questions? Okay, so we have a small segment curated for you, sir, and they're just going to be simple questions. It depends on you. You have to keep it fiery, sassy, and just the way... No, sir, we can stand. That's not a problem. Okay, so my first question to you is, the first thing that comes to your mind when I say films? The first thing, the first word that comes to your mind?
India.
India, lovely. A round of applause. Fantastic. Okay, the next question is, if not a filmmaker or a screenwriter, what would be your alternate career and why?
Cook.
Sorry?
Cook, chef.
Okay, lovely. So I think you really cook some good food. So,
I love cooking and I love eating.
love eating. Okay, okay, lovely. Okay, the next question is that if your life could be described by a movie name, what would be and why?
Jaagte raho.
Jaagte raho. Lovely, fantastic take. Okay, the next very important question that if you ever plan to make a film on cyber security, what would you title it and what's the message you would like to deliver through it? A very important question, right?
I'll call it DSCI.
Wow, lovely, fantastic. So we're seeing a very important and a blockbuster film coming our way that is titled DSCI. Looking forward to it, sir. And the last question, one word for AISS 2024 and the audience here.
I'm so, no, not one word, but I'm so lost here. I still don't know why I'm here. I still don't know if I made any sense.
You absolutely were fantastic, sir.
Thank you.
Without a doubt.
Thank you. Thanks for listening to me and putting up
Thank
with
you.
me.
A louder round of applause. That's Mr. Anubhav Sinha. Thank you so very much, sir, for being a part of AISS 2024. Thank you. Thank you. One more time, a round of applause for that fantastic session right there by Mr. Anubhav Sinha, Indian film director. Well, I would urge you all to please take the center stage. It's time we get you all clicked in the same frame.